Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan video. In this video we're gonna see just how good the AGL Super Saiyan God Sgss Goku and Super Saiyan God Sgss Vegeta do in the Cell Max event. And yeah, we're gonna get a good idea at just how good they can be. Now the thing is, this unit is a bit decisive. I think a lot of people are a bit all over the place with this unit. Are they good? Are they not good? How good are they? And there's two big factors to consider. I think firstly, Zamasu is very good. And I think he's also very simple to use, which is a good thing. Simplicity with the unit is great, especially when it's an extreme unit or a unit that's got more limited teams. I think simplicity is good because when you make complex units that are on limited teams, things become a bit kind of ugly then. When you look at the kind of comparison between the two, I think that's a big standing point. Zamasu is very, very straightforward, and I think that's awesome. I do think Zamasu is also easier to get to his highest ceiling, and I appreciate that as well. So now the thing is, or at least what we want to see is, what is Goku and Vegeta? So how do they work? How do things function with them? And the thing with them is basically how it is the God or the God duo or the blue boys, whichever way you want to phrase it, the base form can feel a little bit underwhelming. Because the thing is if you place the base form in the first slot, they get 150% extra defense, they get high evasion, okay, but they don't get an attack boost. They only have 100% attack boost in total. That's not a lot, right? But it's more a defensive alternative for them. If you place them in the second slot, they do get their attack boost, but then they lose out significantly on the high evasion, and they also miss out on 100% of the 150% defensive boost, which is also, a bit strange, or at least not strange, but it's a bit difficult to kind of work around. However, what they do is they do launch an additional attack. There's a high chance of becoming a super. Now, with these guys, how I imagine them and how I use them, and I could be wrong, I can definitely be wrong, but personally how I use them is, basically what I do is I leave them in their base form a bit longer than I usually would leave a unit in their base form. I let them stack up, I let them build up that attack. By firing off additional supers, I let them build up that defense, and I just kind of let them go to town. I let them just kind of build and build and build and build, and then when they get to, kind of nearing their apex, when I really need them to take a new step up, then I transform them. So it's a little bit of a waiting process, I guess, in terms of my usage of them. I don't use the Vegeta as quickly as you can. I don't pop them out as soon as you can, and that tends to work alright for me. Now, maybe if you're at Rambo, you don't need to wait so long. Maybe, maybe you still just prefer using Vegeta anyway. That's fine. It's entirely up to you. Another thing that's super important to understand about them, I think, is that they have that additional 50% attack and defense against Realm of the Gods category enemies. Much like how Zamasu will gain 50% attack and defense when facing non-Realm of the Gods enemies, I think it's important to understand that it's the inverse for them. So whereas Zamasu's works really well, because he's not facing Realm of the Gods category enemies everywhere. There's a lot of events that don't have Realm of the Gods category enemies. For these guys, it's kind of the opposite. If the event doesn't have an RG enemy, then all of a sudden things don't feel so great for you, which is probably one of those things you do just want to factor in. So yeah, overall, just pretty interesting. But you can see here, we're going to stick them in the first slot, really let them go to town, get that evasion popping. That's the main thing. We really want the evasion to show off here, because that's their big benefit as a tank, right? They have evasion, they have pretty good defense after super, but it's that evasion that's really what's going to carry them. You're relying on the 50% to kick in quite consistently. And you can see here that we did get that evasion, which was pretty good. So it allowed them to kind of sit in that first slot, and that kind of proves everything they're about. And it doesn't mean that that makes them a good unit, it's just that that's the benefits of using them in first slot comparative to using them in, say, the second slot. where the second slot is your opportunity to really build up that attack stat, that defensive stat. In this case, that's not the situation. In this case, the goal here is simply to just, let them kind of build up and do their thing. Here we're switching them to the first slot to really benefit from their ability to evade, their ability to, build up and just kind of do their own thing. So yeah, it is very interesting. I think because of how finicky they can be, as in how, I don't want to say, finicky is probably the best term, but because of how, their mechanics change depending on those slots and depending on how you want to use them, I do think there is a sense of, needing to consider their passive a lot more when you're using them in game. That's not to say that they're a hard unit to use or anything. It's just to say that I think you need to constantly remind yourself, okay, what do I actually need them to do here? Do I really need them first slot? Is that mandatory? Is it necessary? What's it going to achieve? Should I rather have them build up more in that second position? So I do think it is pretty important. I think it's something that we do have to always evaluate when we're using this unit. They're not necessarily the type of unit that is an automatic first slot or even an automatic second slot. You need to evaluate what the situation is, what do you need from them, and I think from there you'll probably find that you'll have a bit of a better time. Not saying it's going to make them OP, but I do think they have really, really, really good versatility in that regard. So yeah, but I mean, outside of that, very, very good unit. I like them a lot. And I think they tank quite well. I think they do a very good job in the position that they're in. I think they do very impressive things for me. And yeah, I was very impressed. Especially with the evasion. I think it's something that's pretty impressive. And it does work out to be pretty decent. I think overall, it's not going to save them fully. But even here, considering that this is, Cell Max, and there's no items or anything, the fact that they only take 300k, I think, on this normal, is really not bad. All things considered, it's pretty impressive. When you look at the list of AGL units that can tank a normal from Cell Max, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of units that can tank that normal. So yeah, I think overall pretty good stuff, especially in the base form. Now obviously we're going to transform them here, and I think it's an entirely different story when they transform. Yeah, you got the 20% damage reduction, you got the greatly raising attack and defense, you got 500k defense here, the 50% damage reduction before super, the 20% afterwards. I just think, in this situation things are a bit different. You're also boosting the rest of your rotation's defense by 50%, which I think is something that's very good, and a lot of people don't factor in how strong that ability is, because it's a flat 50% boost to the rest of the rotation. So it's not just like you increasing your own defense a lot, you're actually increasing the rest of the rotation's defense quite substantially. For example, Vegeta, who was at 380k, he all of a sudden goes to 470 odd or whatever it is. So yeah, it's a very big boost actually, and it can work out to be very, very strong. But yeah, overall I think he did a great job. I think a very exceptional unit, and yeah, I'm actually very impressed with how they did as an AGL unit overall. I think it's very good, especially in the Cell Max event. A lot better than I thought they would do, especially at 55% and such. Wasn't really evaluating a Rainbow level 10 linked unit, so yeah, for me, very impressive, excellent stuff. So yeah, we'll see obviously how they go in other videos and things like that, but I think overall just a very, very impressive performance. Yeah, that's it, bye.